one thing that always ends up tripping people up: chattels included, fixtures excluded, and the rental items. Hey, so one of the things that we have to pay attention to in an agreement of purchase and sale, which is a contract between a buyer and a seller to purchase some real estate. So one of the things that I always tell people to really spend time looking at is the chattels included, the fixtures excluded, and the rental items. It's on the second page of the agreement of purchase and sale. Those items there, that section of your agreement of purchase and sale is so important. And to be perfectly honest, it's usually put on the back burner when it comes to importance, when people compare it to the price, or people compare it to what conditions are in my offer, and the closing date, or is my deposit sufficient? And these are all definitely very important items. You need to know how much money you're going to be getting on the purchase price. You need to know that there's a strong deposit. You need to know what your potential closing date is and what the conditions might be tied to the offer. But the one thing that always ends up tripping people up, always, chattels included, fixtures excluded, and the rental items. So chattels included is basically what items are going to stay with the house for the next buyer. And that is basically reflective of the price that they're offering to be included with these following items here. Usually it's the appliances, light fixtures, mirrors, and some other different things that may come as part of the house, maybe some furniture sometimes. But you want to make sure you're very clear where you've delineated exactly what it is that's going to be staying with the house. Fixtures excluded are items that are not going to be at the home at the time of the closing that you want removed or the seller has asked to specifically keep. So you want to make sure you're very clear on those two items. And the last one, rental items. The most common rental item in a house, in a contract, is going to be a hot water tank. Quite often with the city or Reliance or one of these companies where they're renting on a month-to-month basis from. But the other thing you want to be very cognizant of is water softeners. Do you rent your water softener? Do you rent your furnace? Do you rent your air conditioner? Do you rent your security system? Because if the buyer has this included in the rental items, then the buyer basically acknowledges that their offer is based on them accepting these rental items if these items are identified in here. Unless there's specific wording in there to indicate that there's an end date for a particular term. There's usually wording in the agreement in the back page of the schedule, but you also want to make sure that there might not be any wording specific to terms, contracts, obligations to the buyer in that rental item portion of it as well. But if you've got for example, a rental furnace, rental water softener, and then they're not included in the rental item, guess what? You as a seller are likely going to have to incur that cost because the buyer has not consented to take these items on as a rental item. But there's other times where people get very specific, where they take a certain rental item and they'll put it into a chattel included. In which case the buyer is not expecting any sort of rental contract on that, as they're expecting it to be included with the price. Gets a little bit tricky, gets a little bit muddy. These are usually the things that come up near the end of a deal, but they're usually the items that kind of trip deals up or kind of creates a little bit of friction between the buyer and seller. So you want to be absolutely crystal clear what exactly is included, excluded, and what exactly is a rental item and what your obligations would be under that rental contract. Hope that helps. See you guys.